Hey, how we doing today? I been thinking, right, and usually when I'm thinking, I'm sitting on the toilet, and while I'm sitting on the toilet, I have some of when I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh in college, I'd make probably some of the most banger decks ever conceived in human history while thinking and sitting on the toilet. And it's the same thing with Warframe. Like, I'd make some of the best fucking builds while sitting on the goddamn toilet. I'd be like, huh, I could think about that. But rarely do I actually think about, like, politics. Because, I mean, you're taking a shit. I'm sending my memes. But I started thinking, like, why do people use identity politics? Because because it's like, oh, because I am this identity, therefore I should think this. And if you really think about it, it's effectively a stereotype. I mean, okay, what does identity politics mean? It's like, okay, if you're black, you should be for Black Lives Matter, which subscribe to everything that Black Lives Matter stands for, even though it's an organization that doesn't actually work in your interest. I mean, it claims to, and you're supposed to believe it does. But it's like you've given money to this organization for what? For it to uplift itself, make itself rich, then I don't know, effectively spread communism. Or it's like, oh, because I'm trans, therefore I should be with the LGBT, regardless if, again, they're trying to push that goofy shit into school, right? Into to kids, which is about the time Republicans were like, fuck no, right? But according to the identity politics, you had to push it anyway, knowing that it will piss people off, knowing that that would make you the asshole. But because you are this identity, you have to think this way. And it's odd because, again, the majority of Hispanic males voted for Trump. And again, yet another stereotype is, oh, if you're Hispanic, you have to vote in favor of immigration. So against the Republicans, and it's like, no, they're not Hispanics, they're Americans. I mean, I feel like we've solved this issue of identity politics quite a while ago, because you would have situations like World War II, and in Europe it's a completely different culture, right? Ethnicity matters more than race, because again, they're all just a bunch of white people, but they're also not a bunch of white people. They're Hungarians, Romanians, the Spanish, French. Like, these are cultures and ethnicities with grievances that have spanned thousands of years. And during World War II, you'd have a German integrate, immigrate into America, and you'd have a British family immigrate into America. And it's like, how do we get these two groups of people, which are currently fighting a world war, to get along? Well, they pray to the fucking flag. It's like, you're not German, you're not British, you're not Russian, you're American. And obviously, the under God was added to fight communism. And again, it feels like we fixed these ideas before, but it seems in the past 4 years before Donald Trump got elected, it came back. Like, people with interest groups, with ideologies that use identity politics as a weapon, came back in order to uplift themselves yet again. And towards the end of the 4 years, people just got fed up with it, got fatigued with it. And I think that's what contributed to the win of Donald Trump, because at the end of the day, he's the first Republican president to win the popular vote, like, in the past 20 years. And that, I mean, we're thinking history. Like, this is a historical moment because you can't argue that it wasn't fake. You can't argue that he didn't win fair and square. They spent the past 4 years trying to get him on charges of things that most rich people do anyway. Like inflate the property value of your house or your mansion. I mean, these are things that happen so many times. They've stopped looking for it. Like, oh, they'll only look for it if it's an egregious amount or if there are other charges against said person and they sort of throw it on as an addendum. But usually, if you keep your head down, they don't care. And that was just one of many that they tried to get him on, and they failed. I don't believe they failed because they found nothing. I think they failed because again, Trump is a person that understands how to strain legality, like most CEOs of big major corporations, like most politicians, like most actors and actresses. Like if you're rich, you can literally pay for the extension DLC of charges. I feel like, and I'm pretty sure that's what he did, right? But regardless, they legitimized his reign effectively. And identity politics has played a big factor because after a while, it's like, the Democrats, the party that used to be for the working man, was the party that was for literally any other group identity other than the working man. Right? It's like they would grab any type of minority group, claim to speak on their behalf, and if you were against Democrats, you were against this, you were against the whole package. Like you could be all for the police not being in bothering fucking citizens and the government not being in your fucking backyard, but the minute you disagreed with trans issues being pushed to children, oh, now you're against every single thing. And again, this is what intersectionality is. If you're against, the white liberal American that did, then you're against the whole idea that the white liberal Americans push. And it's not just that particular person, you're against all of them. And this is communism is a bit of a stretch, but it's the same idea, right? It treats people like they're cogs, like they're ants in a colony, and that's a very anti-human, anti-American way to look at people. Because again, this privileged class of individuals that claim to be for all this good, right, social causes, they don't see themselves like this, but they see everybody else like this. And I've even Googled identity politics, and I'm surprised it actually gave a somewhat accurate definition. A tendency of people of a particular religion, ethnic group, social background, etc., to form exclusive political alliances, moving away from traditional broad-based party politics. I guess. I mean, again, the politics in Europe is dictated by the people around you. It's like if you're bordering Russia, a country that has historically have never been a good neighbor, your politics is against Russia. I mean, it's just the way it is. Here in America, it's odd, it's weirder, right? And I mean, you think that like the prisons act this exact same way. Like no one talks about the racism that happens in prisons because in most cases it's encouraged, and it's encouraged for a reason. And the reason is if a riot breaks out, the inmates will fight each other and they won't fight the guards. And in most cases, even the guards themselves encourage it, right? And you see these situations, you're like, wow, this is actually it's hard to talk legitimately about how human beings act, right? Because then people try to throw it back at you. And again, I'm not saying this is the way I want people to act. I'm not, it's just the way people are. And America, you would think, tried to socially engineer ways to fix this, but it really didn't. And let's be frank, right? The Bush era created this idea that if you were against this movement, oh, you were anti-American, anti this, anti that, threw labels on you, and at the end, the things that happened the past 3 years was just this in a nutshell. And again, people just don't like being emotionally manipulated. People don't like, you weaponizing your empathy to beat over their head. Because again, if being for free speech means I'm the bad guy, well, free speech is just that good of a cause that I'm willing to be the bad guy to protect it, right? And the last thing, people again don't care about these privileged positions that certain people who use identity politics have, like the ecosystem or women's rights or a war halfway across the world. People don't care about this if they can barely put food on their fucking table, right? And you can hate that all you want, but this is how people act. So the point is not to get people to this situation, because people can weather hardships if they can express it, but you couldn't express it because if you did, oh, you were banned off social media, you were deplatformed. People would that I that we're all for COVID measures, all for the everything that the social and legacy media was saying would come after you, the person, and it's like, okay, you can spurg out at someone for this, but they will be like, okay, and they will vote for the thing despite you. And I think this is what, like, the thing with COVID, like, make no mistake, it was social media companies working hand in hand with government institutions to silence effectively the American people, regardless of the reason. You may believe, oh no, because of COVID, it is the way things should be. Well, then you can't be surprised that people voted against it. I mean, if you think yes, that's something that should happen, right? Again, you can't be mad at someone for being like, well, it actually shouldn't, and I'm gonna vote for the person that ensures that that's never the case while he's the president. And yeah, how does this go back to identity politics? Well, like I said, the exact same people that weaponize identity politics, and they refuse to drop this mindset, even though, again, the party that uses this as a weapon not only lost, but they also lied to you. Like, they lied. They used legacy media to defend their lies, and this is the thing that I think most people seen, and they're like, okay, well, I refuse to live under this. Anything, literally anything, is better than what we have now. Is not only the fact that they lied to you, not only the fact that, oh, you say I could barely put food on my table because of inflation, and they're like, no, shut the fuck up. I'm a hot, because these experts, these nameless, faceless people that we did not elect, say that, oh, the economy's doing better than ever, everything's better, so you shut the fuck up, and in fact, I'm a deplatform you, right? And try to, get you fired from your job for having an opinion, right? No, not only did they lie to you, they tried to defend the lie. And this irreparably shattered people's trust and faith in that establishment. And I think in just Democrats in particular. Now, again, you have people with privileged positions that they have to grasp on, because any deviation for this will just admit that they've effectively, been effectively lied to, and no one wants to really admit that. well, again, they still defend to this day, and you see this with the people flipping the fuck out when Trump was in the office. They defend this to their dying breath, and everyone else, I'm pretty sure, has just moved along. It's like, well, you know, he won fair and square. He has the House, he has the Senate, he has the Supreme Court. He won fair and square. You know, you can cry about it, but I mean, you know, cry in that bundles of money you're going to get in the next 4 years because inflation will be down. But that's all I really got to say about this. I mean, I try to do these videos where I just talk and not, you know, do a lot of react things. But anyway, y'all have fun. Peace.